Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Some of you were here last night when we did our Lucas Bouchard fireside chat. I do those in case anyone's new here because so many people are interested in just Lucas. So we don't want to monopolize the time up when it's When Calls the Heart chat because we have to talk about everything and everyone. So I dedicate some time just to the Lucas fans on Sunday nights, and people came out even though the Super Bowl wasn't quite over, which was pretty amazing. So, anyway, hello everyone. There's 56 of you that just popped in at one time. You're all saying hello to everyone. Yes. All right. Yes, it is cold. Hi, Kathy from North Jersey. Me here in South Jersey, getting ready for some snow. I am too. So, I thought I would. It's funny. I've got people who have texted and messaged me asking me to, share their what they had to say because I guess some people are having some issues getting in and being able to comment because there's something wrong with their devices. So I will try to. I got notes everywhere, so I'll try my best to be organized. Let's see what Jennifer's saying. So where Jennifer is, she's getting 3 to 5 inches snow by morning and rain by the afternoon. No snow in San Diego. Hi, Bryce. Bryce and I have recently become Facebook friends. And Bryce, I want you to know that I am very picky as to who is my Facebook friend, only because my family would prefer that. We've had some things happen, nothing major, and you've heard me say this before, but I so enjoy being Bryce's um, Facebook friend because you put the best posts, and I love reading them. And you're like, he has such intelligent, like fun sometimes, but funny ways of saying things. And I'm like, yes, yes, those are the words I wish I had. So thank you for that, Bryce. Nikki, oh, you're here. Look, Nikki, you can't hug up everything. Nikki's here in the comments, and she's also sending me private private comments. I can't do it all, Nikki. Hope you are feeling better, Arlene. Yes, Arlene, we are. We are supposed to get about 2 to 4 inches tonight and then another 6 for Wednesday. Oh, gosh, I know. We're getting snow too. You're much further out the other way than we are. Hi, Dee. Hope everybody's talking about the snow. And they're asking where everyone is. Okay. All right. So I have so much I want to say, and I hope I remember it. I thought I would start off with all the things I loved with episode 6. So episode 6 is like a benchmark, right? It's halfway there. We're halfway there. That one, right? Okay. So, um I got distracted by of what you're saying over here. So, the person who wrote it was her name is Joy Gregory, which many of you already know, and Joy is the new co-host with Lindsay for the TV series. So I found that interesting, and she has quite an extensive, after I went and researched it, background, even like especially in writing. Um, but I have to say that this episode overall, and I don't want to start off on a negative note. I don't want anybody to come at me yet. Just hold on. It fell flat for me. Now, Joy, you're a writer, so you can take criticism, okay? And I teach writing. I'm a writer myself, not a script writer. I'm not, and I'm just in South Jersey, so take it with however you want. I'm not here coming for you, Joy. I hope that you write more of the episodes, and I love them. I want to love them. I don't want to be disappointed. But I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm kind of greedy with my episodes. There's only 12. It goes so fast. I love the show so much. I finally got my longtime friend. We are best friends. Her son is a grown man now, but he's my godson. We've been friends since we were young girls. And all she hears me say is, When calls the heart, one calls the heart, one calls the heart. She finally started watching it with her mother, and she's obsessed. Okay. And I know her, and I knew who was going to wind up being one of her favorite characters. And one of them is Henry. And she is a massive Nathan fan now. She loves the Mountie. I'm not surprised. And we're just gobbling up and we're loving it. And I love the show. So I'm greedy. I want every episode to count. And I felt like we have so much going on in this season. And we only got 42. I think Brian Bird said it was like 42 minutes. And he's, of course he knows 42 minutes of actual screen time. Such an ensemble of a cast fighting for time and screen time that this should advance the storyline. And as a writer, you don't put a scene in no matter how sexy, like if I'm writing romance, that's why I'm saying that, how sexy or cool or funny or humorous or mysterious the scene is, you don't put a scene in a story unless it advances the storyline. I felt like we could have just gotten rid of this entire episode and we would have been okay with every single storyline. I felt like it didn't advance anything. So I'm trying to figure out what its purpose is. But with that said, there was quite a bit that I liked. So let me say this. Okay. Love how, okay, let's see what Henry's always a fan favorite. People are agreeing with that. Let's see. Kathy is saying, and I had a difficult time. First of all, let me just say this. There are a lot of Hardys, a lot of watchers with Kathy or Catherine or some form. I've seen every spelling you can imagine. You got a lot of Kathys here. I had a hard time watching Elizabeth's fantasies about Nathan. They're trying to make him sexy and he looks so awkward. I'm going to get into that. Okay. I'm going to discuss that. It's coming up. You are chatting about it here, but you might, if you want my attention and for me to broadcast it across like I do, you might have to repeat it because it's already flown by me with 100 and almost 40 people in here. It's moving fast. Okay. So I'm going to get there. All right. One of the things that I have to say is kudos. And I know Erin talked about this to the cinematography, the cinematographer, to those filming and directing. I loved it. I love when they do that slow-mo and how they incorporated other effects, how they did the fuzziness of the screen, or what we were viewing. I love that. I thought it was beautifully done, and I hope we see more of it. I hope we see like the whole cast out dancing and they do some of it in that, or people out on the field or riding in a horse. I don't know. I think it's beautiful and I like it. Thank you. And they used it a little bit before. They used it quite a bit in this episode. We don't want it to be too much, but I really am enjoying that. So nice. I love how that all came about. There's one of the things I loved. How do you feel about that? I'm not asking what was in the slow-mo. I'm calling it slow-mo. I don't know all the technical terms. What do you think about that? Did you find it like it was appealing? It was something different. I really liked it. Not the what was being filmed. I'm just saying in general. I liked it. I don't know how y'all feel about that, but I thought that would be fun. Next, what I like, you did love, okay, Lucy, you like the slow-mo? Okay, I did too. I'm calling it slow-mo. Yes. Someone was saying, Jill's saying, yes, it was well done. Yes, and it has been amazing. Just some of the shots that we're getting, the cinematography has been amazing these past few seasons. I agree, Brianna. And I love now where they're coming from behind a tree and like the branches, and you kind of got to get like, and you come out into the scene. They fell a little short sometimes when it covers up a character's face too much. Like we love a handsome guy like Lucas Bouchard, and it kind of covered up his face a little too much when he was walking. But I get that there's going to be little faux pas and little things that happen, but I just find it cool and neat. And I know kudos to Allie, because a couple of seasons ago, she went and she just scoped out the area and she said, we don't really film from here. We don't film from here. I feel like it widened and opened up the town. And I really did like that. Let's see. Robin saying, I did like the scenery scenes for sure, as it is a beautiful area. It is. And I agree that the technical aspect of the show has been very good. And Kathy is saying, I love the cinematography too, slow-mo, etc. in this past episode. Okay, so I'm glad that you're with me. And if you didn't like it, I'm okay. You don't have to like it. But I just thought, I'm not alone. Okay, not bad. It was one of the things that was capturing my attention. So now we've got the Canfield storyline with Angela. I've been waiting for this. I would rather talk about the story, not the cinematography. I'm getting there, Lillian. Give me a minute. I'm getting there. I'm trying to tell you all the things I liked. The Canfield storyline with Angela. I've been waiting for this storyline when they kind of hinted at it, and we saw that in the recap of past episodes, like in the very beginning, just this little tiny blurb. I'm sorry. They mentioned how Angela wants to go away to college. There's a specific college for her. It's very reminiscent of uh, Michael Landing Jr. and his dad with the whole thing with Little House on the Prairie, right? And the one sister, Mary, who's blind and goes away to the school. Okay. Anyway, I thought this was cool. It is true. They did have such things. So I like that it's factual. But I'm like, why did it take maybe, I think episode 1 or 2 it was in, 1, let's say. Why did it take all the way to episode 6 to finally hear more about it? And I think this episode could have had so much more with the Canfields and them talking it over. And then they said, let's pray about it. I want to see them pray about it. I want to see them pray about it. I want to see what their feelings are. I want to see what she has to say. I don't want to be told. I want to see it. I want to see maybe Angela talking to her girlfriends, because they got those 4 girls that are together a lot, and I love that dynamic. I want to see her. I hope we get to see it. There was just so much that they could have put in this episode of that. We kind of missed it, but I love that storyline and that we got to see some of it. Let's see, Margie. I think going to this college with other students who really understand her will be a good thing. Good. Glad Minnie is still on board with Joseph and Angela. I hope we will see them visit the school. So do I. Yep. And Carrie says, I've been hoping Angela can spread her wings. And Nikki's saying there was a school for the blind in Vinton, Ohio. And I think that is where Mary went in the show. Oh, you know what? I think you were right. And Martha's saying, I think they have too many writers and not enough stories. We're going to get into that. Okay. I think they got too many stories and too many writers, Martha. All right. So something else that I liked and I'm intrigued by, and they could have really given us more, was Kayla's whole story, why she's there. If she's there for 5 more episodes or 3 more episodes, I want to see Kayla there. I'm sorry, Fiona. I want to see her storyline unfold. I want to know what's going on in her mind. And she says she wants to make a difference and have an impact, and she wants to be able to do it all. I don't know why she's not talking to her 2 best friends, picking their brain, because these are 2 women that are doing groundbreaking things. May is a pharmacist and traveled from, I don't know where, I'm just making that up, we know where she came from, to Canada by herself. I know she's married and fell in love, but he supports her totally. So there's a wonderful role model of what you can have if you wanted to have a family and do something. And also there's Faith, who's a doctor, who is very much supported by her friends, and she doesn't have Carson kind of supported her, but then kind of didn't, but did. But she still was surrounded by people that support her. She's a single mom. I mean, she could be getting information and dialogue from them. And I'm like, what happened? And Lillian's saying Faith and May no longer exist. Fiona is now BFFs with Elizabeth, which that came out of nowhere. I thought that was weird. They have more filler than stories. Yes, they do. I agree to that. And Nikki said there is definitely too many side characters. Need to stick to the main characters. Let's see what Margie's saying, and then Kathy. I want to see what made Fiona come back. Yes, to Hope Valley. She seems so unsettled since she came back. I don't think she really wants to marry this old boyfriend. I don't either. And Margie, they better show it and not tell us. Okay? Show, not tell. That is the golden rule I teach my kids that are in 3rd and 4th grade. They don't seem to connect the dots between episodes, scenes with characters, storylines, and let me having to wonder about what might have gone on between scenes that are now not shown. Yes, instead of Dreams give us more of Fiona. We never see Faith and Lily. Okay. Now, I can get why maybe we don't see too much of Faith because the actress was pregnant, and I get that. But still, we could have used the time that she was on screen better. It is such an important storyline for Angela and a young woman with disabilities, especially for that time. It would be intriguing to see how she navigates a larger city. Do you want to know what I love? It's not just that. And let's face it, this is where, in the realm of, like Chris McNally calls it, a snow globe, what were the chances that the Canfields could own anything? There weren't any chances that they were slim to none, okay? Because they are a Black family. They're a family of color, and that's that time frame. Then again, we wouldn't have female mayors like we had. And I mean, there were certain things, but not like they have it there. And I love that. I love that story has a part of an escapism to it. But they should not forget that. And they should pay attention to that disability, and they should be really focusing on it because it is a beautiful storyline, my opinion. Okay, no time for those conversations, Roxanne. We have to see N and E smooching it up. Cindy, I'm getting there. Yes. And yes, Stacy, yes to show, no tell. Yes. So a lot of people were on X apparently, and I didn't really see it. Not an X person. I go on to X for one reason only, and that is to tweet about a show and to support a show and the actors. So you'll see me on there a little bit on Fridays, Saturdays, maybe Sundays, just a little bit, and that's it. I don't even know if I have a big following. I don't know. I get on there and do the best that I can. But I saw that Brian Bird was getting bombarded with some things, and this is what he said. And I'm going to share it because some of you may have seen it. This is real. This is from Brian Bird. It's his real account, not making it up. He says, how about just having a little more grace? It's challenging to give everybody lots of screen time in 42 minutes. You can choose not to be annoyed. That's true. We can choose not to be annoyed. We can choose to be not a lot of things, but also I get that you have a big cast, and I get there are 42 minutes. So we could also, as writers and directors and showrunners and producers of the show, choose to pay attention to what is being written better, to make it more cohesive. I can't sing. Okay. I sing all day long to my students in my class. Sing a song. Every 2 minutes, I break out in song, and they love me. So I might annoy them, but I don't care, and they don't really care. I am not going to give singing lessons. I know what I can and cannot do. I am an exceptional cook. I know this. I've been told, and I know this, and I can feel it in my bones. But I am terrible at making coffee. I mean, terrible. Nobody wants me to make them a cup of coffee or percolate it, or I don't even really know what to do. I kind of, but I don't. And I am terrible at cutting meat. Okay. Nobody wants me to carve up their roast. I know that about myself. I'm not going to host a party and make roast beef and I'm going to carve it up. I'm going to make arrangements for somebody who can do the carving. Okay. My dad could carve up the roast. My poor daddy. Made me just think of him, and that's okay. Anyway, back to this. And he can make a great cup of coffee. Know what your talents are. Okay. How many times do I have to say, whoever is in charge of the long arc storylines, you're not doing it. Stop. Change it. Stop with the big long arc storylines and or overreaching arcs or whatever, however you want to word it, and do something different. Make it more episodic or give it to somebody else. Stop, because you're hurting the show and you are upsetting many people. That's what I want to say. I have to get that off my head. Yeah, okay. Everything seems, hello, Judy. Everything seems so detached. Nothing seems to meld together. The stories are choppy and disconnected. I hope things come together. I do too, and they will, but they should come together better. Okay. And Nikki, you said something and people are agreeing with you. John Tinker knew how to keep the stories and characters connected and miss the stories. Nikki, I love John Tinker, very talented writer, but he did some disconnected things too. I think the writing back in season 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 were different. It was different how they approach things. And that's something my friend Joan, who's watching, remember I told you I got her to watch, she noticed it too. She loves the show. She has no complaints. But she, again, like I said, noticed that the writing shifted and changed. Lori, what's Lori saying? Hey, Lori, I wish Henry was back working with Lucas. I miss his character this season. I do too. All right. Give viewers stories that will bring people back each. Okay. Too much silliness. Okay. Cindy, yes, there needs to be better balance among characters, stories. Also, maybe not keep bringing in new characters. Do we need Ava or Wyatt? I don't know. We're going to see about that. Okay. So, again, a lot of things that I loved also run into things that I don't like. Now, I'm watching. I'm still eager to watch on Sunday nights. I'm still loving the show. I'm still telling people watch. But there are certain things that I feel strongly about, and I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to be fair. There's not a character that I loathe, and there isn't an actor that I don't respect. I would never disrespect an actor, or a writer, or even a showrunner. However, I will, if you're a writer, call you out because that's your job. If the writing stinks, it doesn't matter how great the acting is or how great the directing is. So anyway, they got a bunch of good actors and directors. We got to start using it. Okay, here's something that I got no complaints about. There is nothing that I can complain about, and that is my love for Oliver. I like that we're learning more about him. His mom is in jail. The kiddo who was doing this, he's like new to this career. And wow, for his big first, is Jacob, for his big first, role, he to me is just amazing. And the character, loving him, love how we get a little bit more of his storyline and background every time we see him. Love it, love it, love it. And I hope that doesn't change. So has he's actually got an even higher standing, Nikki. Yeah. Oliver is phenomenal. He is, Jennifer. Oliver is such a sweet character. He is, and I got no complaints. Here's my I can't even complain and say I want to see more of him because I think we see a good amount of him. I'm enjoying his interactions with Allie. I'm enjoying his interactions with the others in the town, and I love his interactions with Nathan. Nathan and Oliver together are like some of my favorite scenes. I also have to say that what I like is I love the character of Nathan. I'm happy that Nathan has to get to have a funny side and a softer side. He has the greatest expressions and the funniest things that he says. He says with a good-natured sense of humor. I've said it a lot. I love seeing him when he's interacting with others, and I like when he was having the conversation between Georgie and Bill, and he's like looking back and forth, and he's like, yeah, okay, we got to get some business done here, but I see there's a little bit more going on there. I just love his expressions. Margie's on fire tonight. Oliver has had a very hard life from what we are learning about him. He has had a lot to overcome, but has not let it make him bitter. He is striving to make himself better. Love this character. You know what, Margie? It just clicked in my head. I don't know why it didn't click sooner. I've had students like him, and I think maybe that's why it's so near and dear to my heart. Yeah, a lot of you are loving Oliver too. Good. Give Oliver his props. He needs it. Well, so does the actor. Yes. Okay. Kathy, I think they're going to write it. I think they're going to write for Allie to appreciate him more. She may be doing that bit more, especially after there was no connection with Wyatt any longer. Yep, I think that's where they're going. I really do. But then again, I can't. I'm very upset that they had to do like a love triangle between Allie and her feelings for others. And the other thing that I'm a little disappointed in is that why are they spending so much time, and if you were here last night, you heard this, on Allie's broken heart and the breakup and her feelings and girls first, when they spent Zippo on other breakups, like a minute. and they don't ever talk about it. I think I know why they don't talk about it, because they want to steer clear of it as a show. And I don't, but it still is weird to me. We're an adults, real adults, about to get married with real feelings and waiting for each other for seasons and years, don't get that respect of healing and discussing and having other people feel for them. But we're spending all this time on a child who has a crush. Okay. I'm not belittling that. I get it. But I think it's just too much, too much, too much. LJ, hi. I was glad to hear Elizabeth finally name to Nathan that she broke Lucas's heart, although she didn't mention it. You know what? I didn't get that. I wasn't sure. And I went back and I listened to that where she talks about it. I don't know if that's what she meant. I didn't get it. Mm. They keep copying all the prior stories. Well, there's only so many stories to tell in a show or in general. Yes, they spent too much focus on Allie, but they want Allie in the picture maybe because she is linked to Nathan. That's a problem. I don't know. And Anna Marie says the broken-hearted scene is like he never went through anything, so have to remember it's a different show. This is true, but they also did show that in the breakup. Like, I'm just saying, we know that they were together and they broke up in the new version, but that would mean that there was history there. I just think it's weird. I think they're absolutely staying focused on Ian and with building that family unit, and Allie's part of it. I do too, but again, too much, too much. I really don't see a triangle with Allie, Oliver, and Wyatt. Wyatt made his feelings or lack thereof pretty clear. No one else being led on. Yes, that's true, but she's still mooning and looking and all that. Yes. You're right, Bryce. Yeah, I get it. You're right. They made Elizabeth look like a hypocrite talking about Allie's broken heart, but she never gave a second thought to how she broke Lucas's heart. Nikki says, I agree. I don't need to hear any more about Allie's broken heart or anything for that matter. She's getting too much focus, and it could be going to better characters like Lucas. I meant to say no one was being led on. Sorry, I gotcha. All right, going back to Nathan. All right, let's go back to Nathan, Anna Marie. Nathan has a different persona for sure this season, more relaxed, like in some of the Hallmark movies he's in. Yes, and I love it. And Kevin McGarry has good facial expressions and sarcasm, but in a sweet way. So I'm loving that. That's the Nathan that we see now, right? And we can do that because he's in love. And when you're in love, everything is different, right? And you have a whole new, better attitude on it. So I get that. That to me is believable. I love it. I like it. Let's see. Oh, here's something minor, and I hope we see more, and I feel like we're going to. I like that Emily is so outspoken, but in a confident way. And they keep giving us little pieces of it. And we know she wants to be a teacher, but that's not what she talks about. She talks more about business. And I like how Henry paid attention to that. And I forget who else did. Somebody actually made a comment on it. And I'm like, you go. I hope they make her have some kind of a, not that there's anything wrong with teaching, but are all the girls going to leave and be teachers? It's not like they got like a ton of people around that they need tons of teachers. So if everybody's leaving to be a teacher, I would hope that maybe they could also leave to be something else. I know that was popular back then, but this is, Hope Valley. Maybe she'll be inspired by, I don't know, Minnie, who runs a business, or maybe she'll be inspired by the new lawyer that comes through somehow, some way, or maybe Henry will, take her under his wing and help her. So I think that would be cool. Those are some of the things I love. You want more of Emily and less Allie? Okay. I do like the character of Allie. I do like that she's smart and they didn't go away from that. I do like that she's very interested in the wolves, and I don't like how they portrayed her as kind of being a bit disrespectful. She was passionate, but a little bit disrespectful in when she was speaking, which just, it could have been me. That's how it came off it to me. But she is passionate. I get that. And she and Lucas kind of have a relationship, she's gone to him. He's given her advice before, and she's gone to him before for advice in the old past. I know this is kind of like a new show, but that's what I say, not necessarily everyone else. So I think he's going to listen. And that's a good thing. And I like how they went methodically, scientifically through it. She and Oliver collecting the water. I think it's a little weird that that's what you would think that salmon would be spawned. Something I also think weird is salmon's really not in the area, because when we first met Lucas, he had to have the salmon shipped in on the ice. So I don't know how that came about, but they probably forgot, and that's okay. Lucas said he'd look into it, and that wasn't good enough for Allie. Yes, she didn't want lip service. You're right. When Elizabeth was talking about broken hearts, I hoped she was going to mention Jack's death. That's what I was wondering, if that's what it was. But then the way she ended that, I was like, she's not talking about Jack's death, not some teenage infatuation she had. But she had kind of said something again. I'm a little confused about that. I would have to ask the writers what it meant, because I don't think I know. Now, little Jack is not as much involved. Maybe he will be. Don't forget, you have to watch the screen time. He had a lot of screen time earlier. And I know the kiddos, you got to kind of like, yeah, figure it all out. You know what? That's funny, Curry. She does need to know that. But Allie's kind of always been that kind of outspoken, says things maybe when she shouldn't kind of thing, which is okay. Chelsea, Elizabeth has nothing to apologize to the kids. She had them. Lucas is not a bad man, and that is enough. They don't need to know who broke up with who. This is okay, Aurora. By the way, I think it's Aurora. I say over here. If I sound silly when I'm reading, it's because I'm reading it cold, and sometimes when we type, we miss things. Elizabeth has nothing to apologize to the kids. She told them Lucas is not a bad man, and that is enough. They don't need to know who broke up with who. This is true, Aurora. I believe that it doesn't. But when she said he's not a bad man, is not what happened with the breakup. They kind of asked her about it, and she kind of made it insinuate that he kind of broke up with her, kind of thing. It was weird how they handled it. I agree that a teacher does not need to explain herself to children, but it was weird how it went. It should have been a little differently, That's just my opinion. I thought salmon needed cold water and to swim upstream, not a polluted farm pond. It does, but that was the point, Nikki, of what Allie was trying to say. It is polluted. They're not going to be able to spawn because of the kick up dust. That's a real thing, by the way. When cattle and what they do to the environment, that is a real thing. They really do this. If you go research it, it's real to this day. And by the way, here's something interesting. Do you want to know what's extremely political? Being a cattle rancher. They tend to have their hand very much in politics. So I was thinking to myself, when Chris McNally said he would, if I'm quoting this wrong, please correct me. I don't want to quote it wrong, but something almost like he would like to see Lucas be ripped from politics. And then I was thinking, what's the man going to do? And what if he became a cattle rancher? And I'm like, oh, they're very much entwined. I didn't even think of that. So I don't know, something. Chelsea said, thank you. I'm not quite sure. I agree, Chelsea. I recorded episodes and sometimes fast forward over the EN and A scenes. Okay, Robin. Yes, lots of hints and of Emily, and hoping she gets into a business role, and maybe with the hazelnuts and Henry assists, like selling to Union City. Here it was. Elizabeth let everyone think Lucas was responsible, and a lot of the people in Hope Valley kind of shunned him. They did. That's what it was. They were mad at him. And here it wasn't him, it was her, but that's how they handled it. Let's see, Nikki. For a debate, the people involved know in advance who they are debating and may have the questions ahead of time. I feel like Rosemary blindsided him. She did, but it was kids and he could handle it. I'm not going to get cuckoo over that. I thought that was fine. I wish we saw more of him. And I loved when he went like this with the kids. And I was hoping that made the fun of it. You know what I mean? I was hoping that that he did that on his own and it wasn't scripted. And if it was scripted, it was so natural that I loved it. All right. And yes, Lillian, you know that exactly. But it was like she just drugged the kids over. I'm not even going to go crazy. He knows how to rope cattle now. Yes, he does, Martha. He does. Okay. So I want to share something that someone shared with me. She sent in and said, I got to get it. It's from Instagram. I'm not going to say names. Not that she said she couldn't. If she was here, she would. Her device doesn't work. And let's talk about this. And back then, wolves were not tolerated in farmlands. That was not conservation for animals in 1920s. You were right, Arlene. So, Arlene, I'm going to put this here because this lends itself to the history. Now, of course, they like Chris McNally said, they're in this little snow globe and they have their own rules and whatnot, and we bend the rules, and that's okay. But I want to talk about this. You're correct. So, but in Hope Valley, I guess it's different. Here we go. Hello, Roxanne. I'm going to watch a podcast tonight, but can't comment until I get a new phone. She said, I was hoping you address the historical mistakes such as the word ecosystem. Okay, so ecosystem, okay, it really was used. The word ecosystem is not a new word. It has been around for a very long time, but not in the everyday field. So in the field of science, in the field of um, earth science, that word has been around for very, very long, but not so much inside the classroom. Ecosystem wasn't even in the classroom when I was a student, but it definitely became part of the curriculum. And because I taught the ecosystems, was in, I guess, when I want to say I saw that popping up, it wasn't even in, I would have to say, the late 90s. So I get what you're saying there. But I'm not going to go crazy. It was environment. I'm not mad at that. But pointing that out, if anybody wants to add, they can. And then there were paper liners on the cupcake, and that didn't come into the 1950s, right? So that was something else. So again, a little hiccup. They may not have even caught that, but we're looking at everything. And I'm okay at that. I'm not even mad at that little thing. I mean, Ned, did he really have anything to do with adhesive in the Band-Aid? No. And the toaster thing that sprung? No. But it's fun. Okay. And I'm okay with that. You might not be. It might be your pet peeve. You might be a history buff or staunch, into the facts. I get it. That's okay. Um, the thing about the debate also. So here's one thing that someone is pointing out, and I want to talk about. I'm leaving the big one for the end because we're going to go crazy on that. The part about so Elizabeth is sick. Why is Rosemary getting what happened? I know that they're trying to fight for time, but Rosemary didn't have to have such a big part. Rosemary didn't have to deliver the grilled cheese, and Rosemary didn't have to bring her the medicine. May could have taken care of that, or Faith. Maybe Faith, Andrea couldn't be in that episode. I don't know, but May could have done all of that, and that's not what happened. Or even say, let me go check with May or whatever. Instead, people were like, that was a little off. That was weird. We could see some of our characters that we haven't seen, give them a little screen time. Yes, where was Faith and May? We don't know, Lillian. We don't know. So Robin says, it's so interesting that the wolves and bears are being talked about now, as this has never been addressed or shown in the past seasons with the kiddos or anything. So I find it odd. They have talked about wolves. They've talked about wolves and the howling of the wolves a lot through the show. Not maybe with them, worrying about them, but there's always been the wolves there, and there's always been mention of bears. So that's funny. It's been trickled in, and it's just a little more focused now, Robin. So I'm okay even with that. Yes. And Cindy, Lillian says you crack her up. And Lisa says, I know we needed May. I know we needed May as the pharmacist to give that to Elizabeth. Yes, I know, Lisa. Why didn't that happen? Rosemary was running around doing everything. She was. She surely had a big part. Now, love Melissa Gilbert. Love my Little House on the Prairie. Love that she's there, and she was like an interest with Mr. Bill Avery. Love, like that man's got a lot of admirers over the times, right? And I think that's why like Nathan's looking at her thinking, you too? Like every time he turns around, there was somebody from his past, right? He was like a ladies' man, but in a good way, I guess. So anyway, backing up to this. Why didn't they give them more time to advance the storyline? Why didn't we see more of them instead of a lot of something else, which we're going to get to? How many minutes did she have in this episode? I didn't stop to count it, right? I did not stop to count it, but I'm going to talk about minutes in a minute. Robin, Oh, my bad. Thank you. No, don't say that, Robin. It just didn't stand out for you. I remember it and it's okay. Remember, there's a funny thing. Robert pretended to be a bear in one of their field trips in the forest. He also pretended that he was hurt by a bear. And then Allie scared them with some stuff in the woods. I mean, there's been talks of bears and wolves the whole time. Even when Elizabeth first came and the wolves would howl, she would get afraid. It's all good. So don't even worry about that. Lisa, I would love to have her come back next season. Jack's love interest. He deserves it after 12 seasons. He hinted that on an interview. Yeah, I would like it too. Okay. And you know what? I want to see where the man lives. Okay. I want to see them in their house. Mike and May even got a front door. Okay. And we saw pieces of their house when they didn't shut the windows. Where in the world does Lucas live? Where does he live? What does his house look like? Where is it? Where did it go? We don't know. Okay, stop. Okay, Stacy reminded me of, I think, season 9 when Bill got kind of drunk on the cough medicine. Yes, it is kind of reminiscent of that. You are right. There is a lot of mystery behind Ava. She is hiding something. She sure is, Jean. And you know what? They're just dragging that one out too. We need a little bit more. And I love how she was getting on Rosemary's nerves. Rosemary's like, who hired her? And then she made her go. I want to see Bill and Melissa together more. So do I. And we could have seen more in this episode. Instead, you ready? I hope I'm ready to discuss it. Please let me know if I forgot anything else. Okay, just to make comparisons here. And I'm not saying that, oh, Chris McNally, he needs more screen time. I know a lot of people love his character and wish he had more screen time. I love the idea of Jed and Molly, and we're not saying that, okay? Jed and Molly. And I love the idea of, like I said, Emily, not seeing that. The Canfields, love them, not seeing them, okay? They all have less screen time. Now we've got Chris McNally's Lucas Bouchard. And in this particular episode, he shared quite a bit of it with somebody else. So he didn't really have this full amount. And he had about 4 minutes and 44 seconds. I'm just giving you like just to know, okay? That's it. However, and I'm not saying this is the total, the Fever Dreams, they spent approximately 4 minutes on Fever Dreams, or they did spend 4 minutes when I added it up. There were other scenes between Nathan and Elizabeth, but just in Fever Dreams alone. Okay? Fever Dreams alone. Now, how do I want to say this? One of those scenes could have been enough. Those Fever Dreams were, and I'm going to say this, so plug yours who don't want to say that, were sexual. And where do those fever dreams lead? That kind of thing has to lead to somewhere. And where was it that it was going to lead? To the bed sheets that were hanging out, airing and drying? Apparently it did, because then we saw them through the bed sheets, and we saw her just, they even kind of shut it down before we could fully see kissing his neck. And then here we find out that it's the dog, but still we see him with just his, and Kevin McGarry is a gorgeous man with a gorgeous body. I got no problem with him. And even if he didn't have a gorgeous body, if everybody's body is gorgeous. But what I'm trying to say is you can't deny that that man is not physically fit and he is handsome. But it was not there. It was not, to me, tastefully done. And I said this before, there is a difference between being sensual and a difference between being sexual. And this is straight up sexual. She groaned. It's 43.02. You hear Elizabeth moan. Oh, she moaned. I'm moaning now. She moaned. And then the next time when you see him, you hear her like a tickling, giggling in the background. And I'm thinking, what are we doing here? What are we selling? No. I don't care who it was with. I don't care if down the road they have I'm going to pick people accuse me of, oh, because I don't like that character. I like Lucas. Let me tell you, let's say down the road they have Lucas and Edie, and she has a fever dream of him, or he catches her getting ready to, I don't know, in her nightgown and running through the field and him looking at her. I'm ew. No, not here. Not here. It is not sensual. It is sexual. Let me give you an example. I've got two, and I'm going to go with Jack and Elizabeth. Jack and Elizabeth were in a cave, and Elizabeth hurt her leg. Remember, the dog ran in there, and she went after him. He went with her, and then there was a thing that crashed down, and he protects her, and they roll over each other. And then they sit up, and then she's got her leg, and he's got to touch her leg carefully and see if it's not broken. That was sensual. That was appropriate. Another really sensual, beautiful scene was when Chris and Aaron had to put themselves on that little chair, and it was dark, and they didn't realize how small that little couch was. And fully clothed up to here and down to here was Lucas and Elizabeth. And she was trying to maybe get his attention, go have dinner. He was brokenhearted because of what happened to Henry. He was not even aware of his presence. How this is how it was scripted. And he's stretching and she's watching and she's looking over and he kisses her hand. She leaves and she has to fan herself. Sensual, not sexual. There is no moaning and groaning and looking over at him like this and asking him to take off his shirt and chop wood. No, no, no. And you spent 4 minutes on this, plus other time. Okay, that's my rant. Now I'm going to check out what y'all had to say about this. Okay, here we go. All right. The dreams were somewhat inappropriate for the show. Also, I could interpret some transference from Elizabeth. The fever dreams were too much and inappropriate and didn't move story. This isn't Dallas or Grey's Anatomy. Please, no dreams, just real drama adding to the developing storyline. What did it say? What it said was that she physically wanted him. She physically wanted him. We kind of get that. You're dating, you kiss each other, you look, you give a look. We get all that. But he scooped her up. Oh, and he laid her on the couch and he leaned over her and she put her hand like this. And I thought maybe I'm not, and I am by far no prude. Okay. If you only knew what genre I wrote, I am not a prude. I am okay, but this is not the genre. This is not the way it was. I was uncomfortable watching the dreams. Just Jack and Elizabeth were in the coal mine when that happened. Yes, they were. What did I say? I didn't say the coal mine. Did I say cave? I'm sorry. You're right. It was a coal mine because it collapsed. Sorry, Margie. I may have said the wrong thing, but I got you. You're right. Contrast the dreams with Eleni picnic in the rain or on the love seat. His office is so different. Yes, there's a difference between sensual and sexual. Remember the pillow scene that they cut out a lot appropriate to keep? Yeah, because it was not too sensual. Yes, the pillow scene, I remember. It was a cheap shot at trying to bring Nathan's character up to the par with Lucas. I don't know about that, Joanne. I know some people have hard feelings, and I don't think that. I think that they really were going to show the romance between them and how much they're attracted to each other. And it could have gone in a different way. I love, though, the part where Kevin McGarry, he was great in it. And he goes, what did he say? He goes, I'd rather have you healthy. I think he goes, but I'm loving this because she's so out of character. And she's so moony and her true feelings are coming out. This brings me to this. The same people who are loving this, because I saw it on X, I'm going to read you some stuff. The same people, because I saw the names of who wrote who, and I'm not going to call their names out. The same people were the same people that flipped a wig and said, that never happened. That would never happen that a teacher was with a saloon owner. Like the saloon was some like little whorehouse in Texas kind of thing. It was not. It was more family oriented by that point. And it never was that bad. There weren't harlots and flappers dancing and entertaining men of the night. That was not like that. And they would say, oh, what is she, a prostitute? Those are words that were used. Now, those same people said stuff like this. Let me read it to you. Here's what they said. This is where it doesn't matter. Like, it just, people crack me up. They crack me up. They said things like, where's this? This shot, and it's them running through the bed sheets, is so dreamy, so good. Hardy's and Hallmark and whatever, Kevin McGarry, that's what they wrote. This shot just so dreamy, so good. Then they had the one where what's this one say? What an incredible episode. It's the name, it's named The Golden Era, and the end, and that ending is a gift, an absolute masterpiece. And that's him running around with the sheets. Run around in the sheets. Ooh la la, this scene is even better after rewatching it. Okay, now I really need to hit the sheets. And then this person, who I value their opinion, but not here. What an auspicious writing debut for Joy Gregory, and a deliriously entertaining episode. Kudos to the cast and crew. I was like, did I watch the same episode? Am I watching the same episode? This reminds me of people who are out there, not to be political, listening, like seeing somebody do something, a gesture, and say, oh, that's not what happened. And I'm thinking, didn't we look and see the same thing? Did we not look and see the same thing? We saw it live, right? Didn't we just see the same thing? Yeah. Running. Let's see. Hold on. Running through the bed sheets reminded me of a scene in the movie Pearl Harbor. Yes, where John Hartnett and Kate Beckinsale were roaming among and laughing. Oh, the parachutes blowing in the soft breeze. Yes, she was a modest woman. The version of her is perverted. Oh, Chelsea, I don't know. It was funny when Jack wanted to check her leg for a break and E told him he was checking the wrong leg. I know. Something wrong that people can't tell that it's sexual. This was not a family-friendly episode. I agree. It was too much and not carrying the Hallmark brand. They are trying to prove the heat between them. Well, I have to tell you something funny. My niece, who could give a rat's hair on a rat's head about this show, she didn't even really know what it is. She doesn't watch it. My other niece does, but this one does not. It happened to be on, and she said, why are they running around in the sheets? She goes, why do people even put their sheets on the line? Don't they have allergies? No, she didn't say allergies. Won't there be bugs? I said, yeah, not to mention allergies like pollen. And I'm trying to explain that to her. She didn't even think of it. And she goes, where's his clothes? You only saw him from the upper part, and he had an undershirt on. And I thought, okay, that was funny. Yeah, it was Hallmark After Dark. People are talking about that all over the place. Anna Marie, I agree, was too much and not carrying the Hallmark brand. They are trying to prove the heat between them. Yeah, some people see the heat. Some people love it. They've been dying for these two to be together. They love Kevin McGarry. Let's face it. If we saw, when I said that Chris McNally as Lucas Bichard was going to be doing something with the rugged and with the calves, because we got some little previews before we really knew what was happening with the cattle, rather. And then people wrote, oh, I want to see a shirt unbuttoned and some chest hair. I want to see the arms rolled up. I want to see that. Those are all sexual things. And that's how people feel about Kevin McGarry. They want to see his muscles. They want to see this. They want to see that. I agree. I get it. That's who you're attracted to. Everybody's got an eye for someone, a pot for every lid. I get that. But here's the thing. Presenting it in a different way is what I would have liked. I would have liked One Fever Dream, and not her moaning and not her giggling like she's being tickled, not her going for his neck, not him with the shirt off and the slow-mo and her all, oh, take your shirt off the next time you chop wood. No, do it differently. Different. I would not want to see those same scenes done with Lucas and oh God, no. That was no to the no, no. He a different guy. That's not no, 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 no. So I said all of this, and there is a very, very high chance that someone from Hallmark is going to watch it, and then I will get banned because I don't agree with everything. But here's the thing. Those are my feelings for this scene. I already said that Joy has a wonderful background, and I hope Joy writes another episode. And it's not like this. I didn't like quite a bit of it because I told you I'm greedy and I want the story to advance. And there's a lot that I love in it. There's quite a bit in the season that I'm enjoying, and I want to see more of it. I'm excited for a season 13, which I truly think they'll get. But I'm allowed to be sharing my opinion and explaining why. Just like you could share your opinion and explain why. Those people that said that this was so romantic and so delicious and so whatever, why? I like to know why. Nobody says why, but I'd like to know why. All right. I wonder if we'll see some sexual stuff between Lucas and Edie. Sexual? Oh, sensual. Thank you. I got such sexual in the brain. Maybe. I feel like it's too soon. I wouldn't like it. I would feel like it didn't fit unless they can truly write it to fit. I know a card scene is coming up with them. I think that could be fun. I also think that those two actors can do a lot with their facial expressions. I talked about this last night. And it's funny because if you weren't on my podcast last night, I talked about, you may have seen this with the official parties when Mark was talking and asking questions and the two other co-hosts. I apologize if I don't remember their name. I don't watch their stuff often, but certain times I do. And anyway, Chris said that all of the people all the actresses that came that he had to do chemistry tests with were good because they were all individual. But there was something about Miranda because she had that unspoken message that she could give just with a look. And that is exactly how Chris McNally is. So I could see where he saw that and he connected. So I think they could do a lot in a short amount of time, but something has to be believable. I wasn't sure that I was going to like Mike and May together because I felt like it was a little rushed in that one season at the end. And all of a sudden, he liked her because he's always liked everybody. And yet, when they built their relationship, they invested in that relationship last season and they gave us so much. And I said, oh gosh, this is a love, like a love match that I didn't know I liked and needed. And I enjoyed it. Now I'm sad because I want to see them married. It's feel like people get married and there goes the storyline. I wanted to see more of them. They're cute together. And we saw a little bit in the beginning and nothing else. I was okay with that progression. I don't feel like we can't rush if this is going to be Lucas with Edie. I hope whoever's writing it is gentle with it and does a good job as they did with Mike and May getting together. Why are Nathan and Elizabeth doing side interviews where they say there's a huge catastrophe? Yep, that's coming up that's going to change them and the relationship and all of the town in many ways. It doesn't say it'll change their relationship, Lisa. I saw that. The question was some big things that were coming down the road that they could hint at. And it was funny because he went with there's a big sort of catastrophe. It's catastrophic that affects the entire town. Apparently it's sort of a bit of a heart wrencher. So I'm like, oh, and then they also said there's like some other things that are coming because Aaron wasn't even hinting at that. It was Nathan, you know who I mean. It was Kevin. So I'm not sure. That's a good thing. I don't even want to predict what that might be. Lucas is too much of a gentleman to behave the way that with a woman. He wouldn't even enter Elizabeth's house until after they were engaged. Margie, you are correct, but we're thinking of when we make comments like that, and you're okay. I don't want to be condescending. I'm not trying to be condescending. I'm trying to think like this. That's what we think about a character, but they could very well not write it like that. They could very well write it a different way because that's how the writers write it. And they're they're not always in keeping with the character, because some of the things that we've heard about Lucas is not what we've had in the past, and reactions are not the same, even by May or what who's got even Elizabeth has different reactions. So we feel that way, but who knows how they write it? You know what I mean? I hope they keep that gentlemanly air about him. Although he just might be so intrigued by her, he didn't care about if she's in her jammies or not. He's going in. I don't think I'd like that. I don't think I like it. I agree. Nathan has not consideration for what is appropriate, and he is allowing it. That shows how immature and dirty she is now. Chelsea, I don't think the writers want her to be dirty and him to be inappropriate. Jack and Elizabeth, I thought for the time, always spent some a lot of serious time together, slow dancing and him being at her house for the wee hours of the night. And they kissed passionately all over the place. Sometimes he grabbed her off of the side where the side buildings were to give her some big passionate kiss. So, okay, I don't know. I'm okay with the going in and out of the house and all that. We got, I'm okay with that. I'm good. Okay. It's just some of the stuff that's supposed, I think, to be sexy is just sexual. It's just me. This proves that it is disrespectful of what the series was supposed to be. Times have changed. They called it spicy. I thought it was more than that. I'm about 5 minutes behind you, but wouldn't you say uncharacteristic for the season so far? Where are May and Mike Hickam? I know. Carol, I don't know. I don't know what to think. I'm not sure. Again, it was a filler, and it should have been way more. It should have been more about Angela. It should have just been more and less of that whole fever. Yes, people who don't respect Christian faith always damage the series. But I have to say something, Chelsea. We throw that term Christianity around a lot, okay? It gets tossed all over the place. And the show is rooted in Christian beliefs, but not anymore. We don't see her writing and speaking about God. It's sort of gotten away from it a little bit more with what Pastor Mike has said. But let's face it, your Christian beliefs, what now? Not then, because none of it would have happened. Christian women still couldn't vote in some places, let alone own or do anything. So if we're thinking of it as us as a Christian family with our kids and watching whatever, I grew up in a very Christian family and very respectful and very much like what I guess people would consider old fashioned. Nowadays, I wouldn't have a problem with my child today watching anything that was on there, anything. What I have a problem with is when people throw it around Christianity and they use it like a weapon. And oh, Elizabeth, and that wasn't supposed to be. It was always supposed to be the Mountie and the teacher. No, goodness, she couldn't go with the saloon owner. Absolutely not. Oh, that wouldn't happen back then. Our Christian values, and that's when they throw it in. No. That means that they don't have much to tell. Romance was Lucas telling Elizabeth he'll run home for her to her every night and he would have to pull away from her every morning. That's romantic. You are correct. It was romantic. Flu epidemic. Maybe Jack gets desperately ill and maybe it is tough, touch and go if several residents get sick. Oh, you know what? You are correct, Nikki. And he does get ill. I think something does happen to little Jack. You were right. You were right. You were right. You were right. Uh-huh. You love Jack, though. I don't have that for Nathan. And that's okay. We're going to wrap up here. I think when you have to have sexual overtones versus being sensual, it's an overreach or a desperation move on the writer's part to make the relationship more relevant. I want to talk. Oh, Joel. Hold on, Joel. I never heard from you say anything, so I'm going to come back to you. Right here. I don't think that that's how they're writing it. I don't they don't set out to say, "Oh, we're going to make it sexual." I think it comes off differently. Or they're hoping that it comes off as sensual. Don't forget, for what I say here, there are, I read to you, people loving it. They loved it. I don't know. I think that the lady that showed up and said she had the same experience that Elizabeth went through, she's going through it now, is a fake. We all think that, Joel. We do. We're waiting for that to unravel. A lot of people speculated that she's connected with Wyatt. Maybe she's connected with the coin. I don't know. Something's going on there. Romance should be more than just half dressed bodies and inappropriate innuendos. Words and looks declare it more beautifully, in my opinion. Arlene, you're the girl, Arlene. You said it. I'm still waiting for Faith and Lily's storyline. Me too. Wondering if they are putting filler scenes to stretch out the stories to get more seasons. I don't know. They've never had filler scenes before. So filler episodes before. I just felt like this whole thing, if I'm serious, if the whole episode was gone, we could have just gone on with the storylines. Something that I was thinking about. This, you know, seasonal arc. I've said it. I feel like it's a broken record, and I'm going to say it again, and I hope someone hears me. Lucas, as governor, should not be hyper focused on one thing. It shouldn't be the constant. It wasn't constant so bad, but that water thing. How are we going to fix the water issue, the water issue, the water issue, which kind of drove him to run, okay, for governor. That wasn't that bad. But the next season was all about the resort and the economics and the resort and the economics and the resort. Do we have a buyer? No. Do we have a buyer? Oh my God, we need a buyer. Do we have a buyer? No. Do we have a buyer? It didn't advance the storyline. We've replaced the resort storyline now with this park. We got to have a national park. We got to do this. Oh, this one says no. Now this says no. And then this one says it's this. And we got to cut it down and we can't have it. It's the wolves. It's the cattle. It's really, like, stop. Just stop with that. Stop. You are eye contact. Yes, eye contact scenes are beautiful and romantic. And Lucas was amazing at it. He is, the actor is. Nikki, don't forget the two men on the horseback will play a part in the coin heist. Yep, Oliver saw some special looking boots and saddle stirrups. Just a brief glimpse that may be important. You're correct. Yes. We know there's going to be some more that comes with that. All right, folks, this is it. I'm working on having like a multiple guests at one time. I'm hoping it pans out for next Monday. They are I'm excited because I'm excited for their storylines. And we'll see. I had asked for 4, 3 out of the 4 have responded. Now we're trying to make sure that that's the time. If it is, it will be at a special time that they pop in. Usually I have the guests pop in first and then I go and I recap. I think the way it'll work is I'll recap. It'll be set later and I'll recap and then they'll pop in. But I'll tell you more. I'll tell you more about that as time goes on. Thank you so much. I've dabbered for over an hour. We've got episode 7 coming and I'm excited to see where it goes. Thank you for tuning in. Have a good night. Stay warm and safe. Oh, how many? I'm sorry. Hold on. I can't forget this. Andrea Evans. How many scenes did they have to cover her bump? How many scenes? Anyone? How many scenes did they have to cover her bump? And I have to tell you, Kerry is in the running. And I know there's a delay, so I'm waiting. 3 scenes, 1 scene. The first person to get it right is Karen, 0, because Faith wasn't in any of the scenes this week. All right, Kate. All right, I've got you in. Oh, Carrie got it right. She wasn't. Trick question, as my students would say. All right, good night. Now I can end. Good night, everyone. Good night.